All right, here we go. Let's get this thing started. Get the party started with conference previews for 2019 IHSA football season as the IHSA football season goes into full effect in August. It's time to start 2019. Here we go. Make sure you follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. My email is coachbigpetefp@gmail.com if you have any questions. Now, as I did last year, I'm going to do this year again. This is the second year of the DuKane Conference, so I'm going to be doing the DuKane Conference as we kick off things in the IHSA football season previews. Now, as I have said numerous times, and a lot of times actually to a lot of people, again, predictions mean nothing. You have to play the game. Any injuries, any of that is going to happen. Definitely schedules are going to change. It's not schedules going to change. Teams will change. Teams' fortunes will go up. Other teams' fortunes will go down. Again, there's a lot of parity in high school football. What is up is down, and what is down is up. And that is just a common thing for high school football. That's one of the things that I love about it. Any little small injury, any little drama between teammates and drama in the team with parents or coaches, it changes the football season. That's what you got to love about it. Now, DuKane Conference, you have one team that is returning. St.Charles North, who they were the big dogs. They went to the state title game. Of course, they lost. But again, still a solid team coming back. Now, what I usually do is I do my favorites, my top dogs, and my sleepers. So for my top dogs, they are Batavia High School, returning a solid roster. Michael Genesee, he's graduated. Wertz has graduated as well. The new quarterback, another new running back as well for the Batavia. But again, they have depth and they are going to be a serious team. Now we go into St. Charles North. Now they lose one of their biggest playmakers, Tyler Newman. Yes, that sucks, but they also have Thurtney at linebacker. At quarterback, they have Little Brown, who, by the way, is one of the top quarterbacks in the state. Definitely a team to behold. And Thurtney at linebacker, who I've talked about numerous times, he's going to be a huge key for that team. Also, St. Charles North also has a very underrated defensive line and a pretty solid offensive line as well. Couple kids to keep an eye out for. Now, we in Warrenville South finally had that surprise season that I was talking about. Finally, last season. Wheaton Warrenville South graduates a couple key players, especially the quarterback, Isaiah Diesman Brown. He has graduated as well. So Wheaton Warrenville South still has a lot of talent in that ranks. Quite a few good juniors that are coming up the ranks too as well. Good offensive line. They have the top kicker in the state or in the Midwest too, maybe and even in the nation, in Olsen. So it should be interesting. But those are my three top dog teams. Now, my surprise team, and this is going to be a huge surprise to people. People are going to be a little bit shocked by this. I like Glenbard North. I think Glenbard North went 0-9 last season. I think they're going to have a surprise season, maybe get into that 4-5 standing, maybe a 5-4, maybe a 6-3. But I really do believe Glenbard North is going to have a great season this season, and I think it's going to be a sort of surprise. But they have a great group of athletes. Smiley. They got Smiley. They got another two. They got a group of defensive backs. Vasquez at quarterback. It's going to be a very interesting season for Glenbard North. Now, let's get on to the other stuff as we usually do. Let's go to Glenbard North first as I go through the notes. Kobe Jameson's the kid that I forgot about to mention. Yeah, Cordell Smiley, Kobe Jameson, they're going to be two key players for that team. The big thing about Glenbard North is that they graduate one of their key defensive players in Michael Wellman. But I think last season was a case of youthful mistakes and everything for Glenbard North. And I think Glenbard North is going to learn from it. And I think they're going to have an exceptional season this upcoming season. Definitely a team to keep an eye out for. A good offensive line, too, as well. Galvez, 6'4", offensive lineman you got to keep an eye out for as well. It should be an interesting thing. They got a nice little linebacker as well to replace Wellman as well. So let's go to Geneva. Now, Geneva. Geneva, they Riley Waldock is he's graduated. A key player for them to look out for is Michael Nini, their defensive back for Geneva. Geneva's also got a couple few offensive linemen to keep an eye out for as well. Let's go. Pantano, and I'm forgetting one more player that I wanted to talk about as well. Yeah. But again, Geneva, they have a tough schedule. But key player, keep an eye out for Michael Nini. They graduated, Weldock, they graduated one of their top offensive linemen as well last season. So again, it's going to be a tough season for them. But again, if, like I talked about this in videos last year and I talked about in videos this year, if a team can turn it on in the first 3 games, watch out for them. Geneva has a good chance, especially with that offense. Now, if they get 2-0, then watch out for Geneva. That's definitely a team to keep an eye out for as well. Okay. Now, sorry about this. Trying to get through all the stuff, all the notes. All right. Jake Arthurs, incredible athlete to keep an eye out for as well. Parker Brown, I think the quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. Tommy Barnett's the linebacker that I was talking about. Keep an eye out for. Offensive lineman Nick Walker, Jack Olson, the top kicker in the state, as well. Good group of sophomores and juniors on that level. Haw, who's comes back as a tight end, if I'm not mistaken, for Wheaton Warrenville South All Conference. Definitely a player to keep an eye out for. Again, they're going to have a little bit of a challenge at the quarterback spot as they get a new quarterback as Hinkle has graduated. Also, going down. Yeah, Tommy Barnett's the kid to keep an eye out for. I would say, again, the big thing for Wheaton Warrenville South that I personally see is that they can turn it on to, again, to like Geneva, basically. How can you say it? I'm trying to think of the word to say. Basically, if they can fit that rhythm offense that they have, again, 2 games. That's why I consider them one of the top dogs in this conference. Watch out. Last season they had a good season. I think their only in-conference loss was the Batavia, if I'm not mistaken. Tough game to lose to, but again, it is Batavia football. No surprise there. But Wheaton Warrenville South is still a great team. Ron Muhich will be in the top spot for Wheaton Warrenville South again. We'll have them in the top spot for Wheaton Warrenville South again. Now, St. Charles East. As we get to St. Charles East, Dylan Barnett, all conference, one top offensive lineman in the Midwest. B.J. Crossan, who I consider one of the top quarterbacks in the state. Definitely kid to behold, especially in these incoming games. He is going to be a huge key for that Saints offense. Definitely kid to look out for as well. They've got a nice group of lengthy wide receivers as well. It's going to be a challenge. I'm very interested when St. Charles East, I think, plays Glenbard North. I think that's going to be a great game to watch. That's just my personal feeling. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. Xander Song, definitely another top defensive lineman that I consider in the state of Illinois. There's a wide receiver that I'm forgetting. Let me go down. Nathan Hall. Nathan Hall is a kid that I'm kid to keep an eye out for as wide receiver for St. Charles East. Again, serious thing when I talk about it, Batavia, St. Charles North, and St. Charles East. Those 3 teams going against each other with those 4 games is going to be definitely a thing to look out for as well. Always with those teams. All right. Let's go into Wheaton North territory. Now, with Wheaton North, I think they're going to have a comeback season this season. I think they're going to be good. Xander Miller, everyone knows, top player in the state. Riley Dravitt, definitely a kid to keep an eye out for as well. They have a solid group of sophomores and juniors, especially their juniors that I really like. Trying to find his name. Yeah, don't have his name down in notes, but a good edge rusher and slash defensive tackle for Wheaton North. To me, Wheaton North, again, they had a disappointing season last season, but I think they're going to have a great season this season. Definitely a team to keep an eye out for. I expect 4 teams from the DuKane Conference to make it into the playoffs. That's just my personal feeling. Yeah, it should be interesting. Very undersized line, but we've seen what happens when with undersized lines. They usually actually have great leverage, and they usually win the battle against other taller, bigger linemen, especially in the high school level. Now, we get into Lake Park. One of their top players transferred. Good group of wide receivers for Lake Park. Good group of defensive backs for Lake Park. Um, Last season was a tough season. I think this season is going to be a better season for Lake Park. Again, I think the key game that I'm going to be in Lake Park versus Batavia. I think that's going to be a key game for Lake Park. Definitely a proving factor for Lake Park, and sort of a pace setter for the team this season. Now, Anthony Beacom is one of the kids that I'm keeping an eye out for. Jordan Colin, he comes back after an all-conference season last season. Definitely a kid to keep an eye out for as well. I'm trying to figure out who they have a defensive line to keep an eye out for as well. And they have a nice little speedy group of wide receivers, athletic wide receivers that I've talked about before. But I think Lake Park is going to have another good. I think Lake Park last season was sort of a disappointing season, but I think this season they're going to be on task. Coach Roll's got a nice, solid team. Again, I think this conference is a little bit of a top-heavy conference. I think it's hard to guess who the mid-level teams are going to be this season, and I think Lake Park can be into that consideration that we'll talk about for mid-level teams. Okay. For Batavia, Barris, definitely kid to keep an eye out for, defensive back. Carter, another running back to keep an eye out for as well. Erweiler, little Erweiler is definitely a kid to keep an eye out for as well. Really like the defensive line. They have Lutzwig, their tight end, who's a kid that definitely he's a huge key for that. That's going to be a huge key for that offense. Whoever's quarterback for Batavia High School. Again, depth everywhere for Batavia High School. Coach Pyron, he does wonders with that team. Defensive line, offensive line, they got a great young offensive tackle. Again, like I said, for Batavia football, it's 2 men down, 4 men up, basically. Whoever leaves comes in, a younger person comes in and takes that spot. Responsibility, discipline, yada, yada, yada. I keep saying the same thing, but that's Batavia football. That's why they win games. Simple as that. It's not the I factor, it's the team factor. And that's what's key. That's what's always been key for Batavia football, and it's going to be key again for this season. It's going to be a tough game. Like I said, I have as my guess is my championship game, St.Charles North. Coach Pomzak, he works wonders with that team. He makes those kids believe in themselves. Very motivational coach. Again, it's a great game. That game is going to be a great game. St.Charles North versus Batavia. Huge game. Now, Ronnie Muhish can play spoiler. Again, I'm looking at the beginning of the season for Wheaton Warrenville South. It should be interesting. So we talk about St. Charles North football. Matthew Fell, another player to keep an eye out for. Kyler Brown's the quarterback who took over for his brother. DJ Ocean, underrated defensive lineman to keep an eye out for. Carmine Bastone, keep an eye out for him. Thomas Kellen, I like. He's another tight end to watch out for. Jordan Newman, the young kid to keep an eye out for, little Newman. I'm trying to figure out. There's one more player I'm forgetting. Yeah, I'm gonna forget one more player. I swear. Yeah. But key players again: Fertney is a key to that defense. It's going to be a very interesting game, especially when they go against Batavia. Batavia's got a pretty tough schedule. I think the first game is against East St. Louis. That's going to be a hell of a game. Batavia versus East St. Louis. Now, let's see if I forgot anyone else. Oh, that is it. So, yeah, top teams, Wheaton Warrenville South, St.Charles North, Batavia. Wheaton Warrenville South, St.Charles North, Batavia. Those are my three teams. My surprise team is Glenbard North. Again, like I said, predictions mean crap. You got to play the game, everything else. Literally, I can put a dog on a grass field and put up all the teams of the DuKane Conference, and that dog will do a better job predicting than I do. That's a guarantee. But I was good last season with the DuKane Conference. I was really good last season. So, but again, it's going to be a good season. Can't wait to get to some games. The second game of the week, I believe it's the second game of the week. Lake Park versus Batavia. No, third of the week. Sorry about that. Going to be at that game. Should be an interesting game as Batavia takes on Lake Park at Lake Park. Can't wait. Make sure you follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. My email is coachbigpete@fp@gmail.com. If you have any questions, feel free to ask away. If you like my work, feel free to leave a tip via PayPal. I will put the PayPal link on the bottom. Make sure you fill out the recruiting questionnaire on deepdishfootball.com on the contact page. It is there. Fill out the questionnaire and send it via coachbigpete@fp@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Good luck to everyone this season. No injuries, none of that BS. Have fun and enjoy the season to the DuKane Conference.